Hello, friends. Welcome to this month's Living Water TV. I'm excited about this month. This month, I'm kicking off a video series. It's going to be several videos month to month that are going to tie into each other, but they're all based on foundational things. So you're here at Living Water TV for a reason. Most of us are here to learn different things to help us heal, to grow, to help us get to the next level, whatever that is for you. I mean, we have tools out here, mindfulness meditation, yoga practices, videos to help you rewire and reframe your brain and how to use it intentionally. These are great things. But a lot of us are here on Living Water TV as a place to start our healing journey. For those of us on that journey, which everyone is on a healing journey, whether you've acknowledged that and taken that intentional step or not, we're here for a reason. I mean, we have things to heal from. I believe deep down in my heart that Jesus has given me the commandment to be the light for him here, to be his voice for here, to spread love, to live in such a way that glorifies his love and light, to bring others to him. That's what I believe wholeheartedly. Us Jesus girls, Jesus men are here to do those things. But I also believe that you can't be a great example of that love and light if you carry baggage and experiences and negativity from our past experiences. Look, we've all had those things happen. We've all had people have negative things to say about us as we grew up, or had violent things happen to us, abusive things, molestation, physical abuse from our parents, verbal abuse from people from past relationships that weren't great, to kids making fun of us at school, or being the kids that made fun of others at school. We have all either received, inflicted, or experienced negativity in our lives. Some of us have extreme cases of that negativity, and it results in trauma. And we talk about trauma a lot on Living Water TV because trauma is what causes us to live a certain way unless we start healing from that trauma. Trauma leaves scars on our mind, our emotions, our hearts, our physical bodies oftentimes. And the beautiful thing is when you ask Jesus into your heart and you can lay those burdens that you've carried from those experiences at his feet. You can forgive the people who portrayed whatever it was to you that was not a great thing. Those are steps one. Lay your burdens at Jesus' feet. He's got them. He's got it. You don't have to carry that anymore. Forgive. Whatever forgiveness you have to give, because forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is for you to let go. You have to let go to heal. And once you've done those two things, now you're ready to start fixing the scars. Okay? Jesus, forgiveness, healing. So we're going to talk about getting started on that healing journey today. In trauma. So I like to define, let me scope this. Let me define trauma at the very highest generic level possible. Trauma is simply something that has happened that has taken away your control. It could be anything. It could be a small thing. It could be a huge thing. Right? It could be a violent situation. You could have been attacked. You could have been taken advantage of. Or it could just be something that made you feel words in the back, that you heard from family or friends that just took away your control or confidence. Trauma is anything that robs you of that control, takes away your self-control, makes us feel helpless, right? Or less strong, makes us feel weak. Those things, that's what trauma does. Trauma steals that from us, steals our confidence and our control. At the highest level, there's multiple layers here, but that's at the very tippy top layer. That's on the outside of the onion, folks. So if you take the outside of the onion for healing, on the opposite side, well, how do you heal from that trauma? Well, you take back control. And that's what most of these techniques on Living Water TV will help teach you to do. So I want to say before we get started into the meat and potatoes of this first session, there's a lot of tools out here on Living Water TV. I don't expect you, Rachel doesn't expect you to do each and every one of them, but what I would like for you to do is watch it and see what resonates with you and do those things. It could be one thing. Controlling your breath. You might start with controlling your breath. There's a video out here on how to do basic breathing. The chemicals it releases into your body by doing that one basic thing are amazing. They're like your own prescription pad for the positive chemical prescriptions. It's amazing. Okay? So I want you to think of that. Don't get overwhelmed. One thing at a time. But listen, some things will resonate, some things won't. All right, so we're looking at the healing path of trauma. And the first step to recovery from anything is acknowledging what happened, acknowledging the impacts of what happened in your daily life. So trauma, like I stated, can leave physical scars if you've had that kind of abuse or trauma in your life. It can also leave scars on your mind and your heart. Mind, body, spirit, right? Got to have all three healthy to be healthy, right? So we're talking about healing the mental scars and the emotional scars attached to trauma. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start noticing things. I want you to start becoming aware of your day. Okay? Start noticing the things that come into your life that are environmental influences we call triggers and that cause a reaction. And start noticing those things. Start to become aware of any of those reactions that could be tied to something that happened in the past. Okay? I mean, for example, perhaps, I was yelled at. There was an incident when I was corrected. Of course, obviously, kids all get, we all go through that. My mom yelling at me about something in the back of my head. Well, all of a sudden, I'm talking to my 12-year-old and those words are coming out of my mouth. Obviously, I'm carrying something from the past to my present. It's an example. It's not a bad thing, but they're just things. Start becoming aware of that. Start noticing when it's something that's triggered from a bad thing in the past, because knowing them and identifying them can, one, help you to relieve you of the burden by laying that at Jesus' feet. 2, addressing the forgiveness issue that might be associated with that. And 3, start to fix that. If something that triggers over here and it causes you to do something over here and that's not what you want to do, the minute you notice it, you can stop it. Okay, I'm triggered. I don't want that to happen. I'm stopping it. Step 1, just becoming aware and controlling. You are in control. You're in control of where you are right now. You may not have been in control of things that happened to get you here, but you are in control of how you reacted to those things at that time and how you still react to them today. So if it's something you don't want to react that way, just stop it. Sounds easy. It takes practice. You have to start becoming aware. So that was the first foundational thing. Those are the very first things, right? Laid at Jesus' feet, ask for forgiveness, start to heal by becoming aware. Everything else in this video series is going to tie back to those 3 things, okay? So as I start these videos, I always look in the Bible for guidance because I know God has words he wants me to share with you. And there were a couple of verses that popped up. And we'll see if they work if I share both of them or not. But the first one that popped up, I do want to share. And you know me, I have to have my notes because I don't memorize verses. I just know how they make me feel. And this one came to me today. It's Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. This goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, right? I know my path here is to be the light, right? I know God has a plan. He didn't put me down here to suffer. He put me through experiences to make me who I am. But he didn't put me down here to continually suffer. He has plans for me. A life of a hope, a future. The same as he does for you. A divine plan. You have to believe that. It's not your fault the things that have happened in the past. They were done on purpose for you to be here, right now, for whatever reason. We may not see the reason today, but you have to have faith that there was a reason. God doesn't do anything by accident. He's all-knowing. How could he? Right? So if you believe Jesus Christ died for us and rose from the tomb for us, so we could start anew, be new, give him our burdens, and live in the light, then you have to believe that there's a plan for me. There's a plan for you. Okay? And this plan right now, what we're going to do, you've already taken the first step. You're here. So now we're going to work on another step in this healing process, this healing journey. Because it is a journey, guys. This is something that's going to go on for a long time. It took us that many years to get here. 47 for me to get here. This is a journey I'm going to continue on for the rest of my life. My trauma hasn't stopped. I'm still going to have things happen, but I'm going to be better prepared on how to battle those going forward. All right, so now we're going to dig into the first lesson, the first thing I want to share with you, the first impact that I want to focus on from our trauma or our negativity from our past. The biggest thing that I think that it impacts from all the research and reading that I've done, that one that has resonated with me the most, is all of these things that have happened to us in the past, good, bad, ugly, and different, form our self-image. What is self-image? Self-image is how I see myself. Self-image is how you see yourself. We have lots of words that we tag onto this self-image to describe what we are or what other people are. I'm crafty. I'm not crafty. I'm smart. I'm not smart. I'm ugly. I'm pretty. I'm coordinated. I'm not coordinated. I'm this. I'm that. I'm that. I'm whatever. All of these words, we're kind of like our mind is kind of like a sponge at times, especially when we haven't been living intentionally and we let everything in. When we let everything in, our mind's like this great big sponge. And you hear all these words and you experience these things that make you feel like you have no control, or you hear these negative words from your uncle that says you're ugly or you're not worth it or whatever. It goes into this sponge, and this sponge defines who we see ourselves as. And that is our self-image. Now, this can be a good and bad thing. It's probably a bad thing at this point because you haven't learned to live intentionally yet. And we have all this baggage from past input into this sponge. We can't wring it all out. We're going to start wringing it out today, okay? Because what happens is your self-image, how I see myself, directly defines my possibilities, period. If I didn't see myself as someone who can speak to you, I wouldn't be able to be here and speak to you. But it's all right here. I decided that here. There was a time in my journey where I cut that out and said, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be a speaker. I'm not going to teach. I'm not going to share. That's not who I am going forward. And I couldn't do it. I mentally made a decision, and you could put me in a room at a table to give a toast and I couldn't do it. After speaking in front of thousands of people in the past, over and over and over, confidently, without issue, I made this decision in my head. I changed my self-image of who I saw myself as. All of a sudden, I couldn't physically do it. And I couldn't physically do it until I decided it was time to flip that back on and change my self-image. I had to consciously, intentionally say, I'm in. I'm speaking again. I'm sharing again. I'm sharing and teaching and helping others publicly again. I'm not that person anymore. I'm this person now. And that's significant because who I saw myself as directly impacted my physical ability to do that. Isn't that amazing? I controlled that. But until I intentionally changed it, it was not good. And we all do that. I have voices in the back of my head. You're fat. You're not athletic. You'll never amount to anything. You can't sing. You're not smart enough, or whatever. Or you're not brave enough to take that step and try that. Why would you think you could do that? No. But I also have positive things in there. You are strong enough. You are beautiful. Right? You can do this. You're worth this. Now, some of those voices weren't other people. Some of those voices was me telling myself, you're beautiful. You're worth it. You can help people. This is your journey. I had to believe that to make it so. So a lot of the negativity I had to cancel out with my own voice. Okay? And that's part of the practice. These are the things, when you start to become aware, like we talked about a minute ago, start replacing those things, the negatives, with the positives. Because what that does is when you start to believe the positive changes, it takes your bubble of self-image and it bumps it out. And if your self-image is directly tied to your area of possibility, what you're going to be blessed with is defined by your self-image. So if you're here, what are your blessings going to look like? What are your opportunities going to look like? Meh. But if you're here, they're better, right? And this is limitless, guys. You can grow this to open up to where you're open for every blessing and joy and positivity that Jesus wants to bring into your life. But you have to be ready for it. You have to believe it. You have to receive it. And until you fix your self-image, you're not going to get there. All right. So I have notes so I don't forget things. You know this, right? Oh, the statement, all of your actions, feelings, all of my behaviors, all my abilities, everything I can ever accomplish is directly tied and consistent with my self-image, just like we were talking about. So until you change your self-image, you're never going to change your ability. You're self-limiting or you're self-enabling. If you believe in a positive self-image, you're enabling yourself for these things. Just as powerful, but it's your choice. So let's work on it. Something else to consider too, when you have a self-image that is not great, that does a lot of things. It limits your possibilities. It also makes you feel less whole. So when your self-image is down or small, we try to make it feel bigger or better. A lot of times by using different things to fluff that up or to down the negativity, alcohol, drugs, addictions of all kinds. A lot of times those are driven by our self-image because we don't feel worthy of anything better. Right? We don't feel whole, so we're trying to make ourselves whole with other things. I'm here to tell you that you can make yourself whole. You're the doctor. You have your own prescription pad. You can write that puppy out anytime you want. I believe I am beautiful. Boop. I take that prescription. I read it over and over long enough until I believe it. Right? It's a course of healing. It's a course of action. And when we don't have that positive self-image, it leads to shame. and you tend to hide. You see a lot of people who have lack of confidence because they have a low self-image, and they do this. They make themselves smaller, right? As opposed to someone who's confident, has a great self-image, and they just stand strong, their head's up. Same person, two very different looks. I mean, look, or this. Same beauty, same person, two perspectives. There was an interesting article that I read with self-image. It was perspective of a scar. So there are two ways that they gave as examples in this article of how a scar can represent a beautiful thing or a bad thing, and how it impacts our self-image. Let's go there. Let's talk about that a little bit. It's on my heart to talk about this. Let's share that. So let's say that there's this girl. She's a beautiful girl, and somehow she's been scarred. She has a scratch here. All of a sudden, this scar makes her feel less pretty. Not that she felt like she was beautiful or any of that before to a great extent, but the scar definitely makes her feel ugly because everyone can see it. She can't hide it. It's on her face. So her self-image shrinks. And as her self-image shrinks, her shoulders go down and her head goes down, and she doesn't have confidence. She doesn't have strength. She doesn't feel pretty. She feels ugly because of this scar on her face. It's the only thing that's changed. But in her mind, it's a significant change. And that has made her ugly. And we see pretty girls who do this all the time. You're like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. But there's something about them that makes them feel not. It could be a scar. It could be something physical. But it could be something here. Our scars aren't always worn on the outside. Most times they're worn on the inside. This scar on this person's face could be very diminished, and you wouldn't even be able to see it if you hadn't looked for it. But on her eyes, it's like blaring. And it makes her ugly, right? That same scar, let's talk about a different perspective on that scar. So in the world of fencing, and I'm going to get these words wrong because I don't live in that world. I don't know that vocabulary associated to this sport at all. So just flow with it with me. So in the sport of fencing, you have the people who duel, the people who fence. When they're dueling, and it's an intense match, and let's say, for example, that they got scratched by the sword during a match. Well, in their eyes, it doesn't make them ugly. They're proud of that. That's a badge of honor. So now this person who was fencing now has this scar, and now they stand taller. Look. That's right. I got that in a duel. Do you see the perspective difference? That the girl thought she was ugly. The fencer thought, oh, badge of honor. Look. I earned that. Two different perspectives. Same scar. Self-image was defined differently. And it was their control that defined the self-image. But think about it, the girl who's all shut into herself, her possibilities are going to be smaller. But the person who has the shoulders back and the scar out, they're like, yeah, they're going to be confident. People are going to approach them. Opportunities are going to fall into lap. They're going to be blessed because they're ready to receive it. It's all tied to self-image. So the self-image, like I said, it sets all areas of your possibility, good or bad. You get to decide what that is. And if your self-image isn't where you want it to be now, there's a good thing. I'm going to help you expand it. I have a couple of very easy techniques. They're going to help you expand this. Okay? They're going to fix those areas of your self-image that you're not happy with. First, you have to be aware, right? Remember back in the beginning, become aware of it. Acknowledge it exists. Now we can fix it. So how are we going to fix it? I'm going to give you a couple very easy things. Okay? One is to be intentional, right? Be intentional. Focus on the happy stuff. Focus on the positive stuff, right? I am what is positive? Anything, list it. Write yourself a list. I am beautiful. I'm smart. I'm a great cook. I keep a great house. My house is perfectly clean. I'm a great gardener. I read well. I impact others positively. List it out. Acknowledge these things, because what you focus on grows. And when you think of these things that are good about you, it makes you feel happier. It makes you feel more successful. And if you feel happier and more successful, what are you attracting? More happiness and more success. The more you focus on this list of positivity, the things that are amazing about you, your self-image goes bloop. And you know what? That little centimeter is significant. It is incredibly significant. And the more you focus on it, the more good things are going to happen. The longer your list is going to get, the more it grows. And the more it grows. And the more it grows. It's limitless because our experiences never stop. And once we start focusing on the positive experiences, the more of those you're going to get. It's like a snowball of positivity, happiness, and love. This is amazing. So take control, be intentional, do that. Okay. Another thing that's a very useful tool is affirmations. Same kind of thing. I am beautiful. Write it out. Put it on a Post-it note. Put it on your mirror. So when you go into the bathroom and you're getting ready in the morning, you see, I am beautiful. I'm worthy. I'm smart. Right? I'm an amazing woman. I have strength. Put these on your mirror. Put them around your house, wherever you focus, wherever you see, because what you focus on, what? Grows. And the more positive things that grow, the bigger your self-image grows. The more abundance you're going to receive. It's all tied together, guys. It's all tied together. That's why when you live in a small space of self-image this big, you feel like you're never getting out because you can't see it. Because what you focus on is what you get. You focus on the bad stuff, you're going to get more bad stuff, and it goes more bad stuff. But you don't have to focus on that. Bad stuff happens, but it's all on how you react to it. Bad stuff happens. I stubbed my toe. I can either cuss the world and go my whole day and be upset. Oh, great, there goes my day. It's going to pot because I stubbed my toe in the morning. Or I can say, oh, stubbed my toe. That wasn't pleasant. All right, no big deal. Reset. Let's go. Boom. I controlled my reaction. I didn't impact my self-image. I didn't impact my possibilities. I didn't impact my happiness. Okay? It's a significant lesson. And the last thing I want to leave you with is the power of gratitude. So you're going to notice a trend here, right? There's a trend of focus on the happy, focus on the positive, and it expands your self-image bubble, right? I live in gratitude. Every morning when I wake up and I talk to God, I always list out, thank you, Lord, for. And I tell him what I'm thankful for. Thank you for my husband who supports me. Thank you for my lifestyle. Thank you for a job that allows me to have flexibility so I can share these moments with the people in Living Water. Thank you for Rachel for getting me on this path. Thank you for my children. Thank you for the sunshine. Thank you for the breeze. Thank you for the flowers. Whatever. List it out. Show gratitude, because the more you show gratitude, you're focusing on the positives. What's going to happen? You're going to get more positive things to focus on. It's that easy. It's really that easy. All right. So we're at the 20-minute mark-ish. So I had a visualization I was going to do and post up here. I'll do that separate. So I'll go ahead and get this video posted, and then I'll come back with an extra bonus, a visualization. I'll come back and it's same kind of thing. It's a tool that's going to help you learn how to focus on the positive, to fix your self-image and to expand it and fill the holes and the gaps and all those negative things. You're going to patch it with all the positivity, and you're going to grow your self-image. Okay, so we'll come back to that. So look for that later on. I'll get that posted out here later on this month. But for now, thank you for taking your time and listening to me. I hope some of these things have helped you. I hope some of these things have helped you. And this path, and this healing path is the next step for you. And look back for that visualization video. And I appreciate your time, friends. Thank you, and God bless you.